If you do anything for this Pisces new moon, then let it be this. Taking time to dream vividly, feel deeply, and set intentions rooted in the imagination. And I say this because this new moon, occurring at 9 degrees in the mutable water sign of Pisces on February 27th or 28th, depending on your time zone, will be all about harnessing that power, leaning into those inklings of our emotions, on our creativity when it comes to manifesting our dreams. And with its dreamy, calming, and pretty lucky energy, this new moon can be a very perfect time for aligning with our desires. Hello, friends. It's your girl, Alina. And on this channel, we talk all things alignment, aligning with the cosmos, the seasons, and most importantly, aligning with your intuition. And in this video, we'll cover everything you need to know about this pretty magical, in my opinion, Pisces new moon. We'll talk about the top transits happening around the time of this lunation. And of course, at the end, I'll offer some custom journal prompts, and I'll be giving some custom readings for each zodiac sign. And before we dive in, I actually want to give a quick shout out to my marketing manager, my virtual assistant, and a friend of mine. And she's all of these things for Auraline. Her name is Alexis Cron. Here is a really awesome customer review, really spotlighting how awesome she is. Now, if you've ever reached out to Auraline for customer service things or questions, or you have enjoyed any of the content on the Auraline Instagram page, which all will be linked in the description, you've probably interacted with Alexis. And I'm mentioning her because she offers her services in social media management, marketing in general, virtual assistance, and her books just opened up. So if you're someone who wants to work with someone like Alexis, then be sure to check out the link in my description box where you can find her website. Thank you, Alexis. So new moons in general are all about fresh starts and planting seeds of intention and anything that we'd like to see grow into our reality over the course of the new lunar cycle. Now, Pisces is a mutable water sign associated with things like intuition, our dreams, our shadow side, spirituality, imagination, and sometimes escapism, along with boundless creativity. And so under this Pisces lunation, the energy here can create a pretty beautiful window of time for diving deep into our visions for how we'd like our life to unfold, getting more detailed, leaning into our inner vision and tapping into more creative potentials within us, especially when it comes to manifesting and aligning with our highest intentions. The other interesting aspect about Pisces is that it's the sign of the 12th house, the final house in the zodiac. And the way that I like to describe it is almost like if you're at the end of a journey or even end of life, you're looking back on your journey, on your life, and all of the things that occurred. You're very reflective around this time. Oftentimes, the veil can feel a bit thin as well. Again, going back to the Piscean themes of the imagination, spirituality. And so when we see a Pisces new moon, it can be a time of new beginnings, but also in general, new moons are potent times for rest and reflection. Keyword being on reflection at the time of a Pisces new moon. So this can be a very beautiful time for pausing to reflect on aspects of your life, what isn't working, but also aspects of your own psyche. Pisces is a very notable sign, and Pisces season is a very notable time, strongly tied to shadow work. Again, thinking about when you're looking back on all the things that have gone on in your life and, you know, the things from a journey. And you're not only looking at the external things that went on, but also the part that you played. Not only the positive, constructive, good things, but also maybe the things that you held on to that you didn't speak up about, or the part that you played in how things went wrong in some areas. Pisces, again, is a really notable sign in that way. The 12th house is also considered the house of hidden enemies, which I find to be very interesting. And so again, there's these general Pisces themes of imagination, escapism, creativity, artistic expression, but there is a deeper realm to that where it looks at essentially this sort of veil between the journey that just happened and what's next, and the veil between what is and what hasn't come yet. And so it's just a very fascinating time. I feel like Pisces new moons can be very beautiful for shadow work, for really trying to pause and remember your dreams, to dream journal, pausing to try to interpret your dreams as a window deeper into your own subconscious or even into other dimensions. Pisces new moons are just really great for doing that deeper work and deeper reflection on things. And when it comes to manifestation, if you're looking to manifest something, bring something forth into the world, Pisces new moons can be a really beautiful time to lean into the imagination, lean into a lot of manifestation practices lean heavily on the imagination. You know, when you look at things from the perspective of, oh, you want to match the emotional state and the vibration of your future self, and to kind of to that mode of thinking from that future self so that you in the present moment can align energetically with that path and think from that perspective so that you can sort of approach how to get to and manifest that thing from a more constructive perspective. And in order to do that, when you look at these modes of manifestation, a lot of it does have to do with leaning into your imagination. You need to imagine, visualize what's happening to get into that emotional state. I also think about a pretty popular mode of manifesting, which is scripting, where you're writing out and journaling as if the thing that you want to obtain, create, attract has already come to you. You're using your imagination there as well. So again, Pisces new moons can be really great for that. The last thing I will say, I have many things to say, is that we are in Pisces season now, and I'll dive more into aspects of Pisces season. But it's the final season of the zodiac before the true astrological new year begins, when we see that the sun leaves Pisces and enters Aries, marking the beginning of the spring season, but also the spring equinox. I was like, wait, is it the equinox or solstice? It's the equinox. So it's also this sort of final stage. Especially if you're in the northern hemisphere, this is represented by the final stage of the winter season. If you're in the southern hemisphere, it's represented by the final stage of the summer season, of these sort of seasonal peaks, peak coldness, peak heat, right? And so the last thing I want to say is just a word of encouragement for anyone. If you feel like you've been trudging along, like you've been trying to push towards something, or maybe not push at all, you've just been kind of, you maybe have ideas in your head of directions you want to go, or you want to do something, and it's just like you're pushing up against something. I just want to remind you, we are in the final zodiac season before the new year. This is a time really of rest, reflection, enjoying the fruits of your labor, and really looking at how things have gone on in your life. And new moons are this optimal time for rest and reflection, drawing your energy back to yourself in this way. So if you don't feel ready, like, oh, this is a new lunar cycle, I should be kickstarting something, that's perfectly okay. This is one of the final lunations before we start the new year, the true astrological new year in March, in about a month at the end of the month. So yeah, now dipping our toes into the transits around this time, something that makes this new moon a bit extra special is the sextile that it will be forming between Venus, the planet of love and relationships, and Jupiter, the planet of expansion and blessings. This will just be happening between those two planets. But this alignment will definitely be one that can be enhancing our ability to attract love, joy, good fortune, and really making it an optimal time for dreaming big, setting intentions that feel aligned with our highest self. Now, I will note, Venus is in its pre-shadow period, as it's going to be going into retrograde in the month of March. That's coming up pretty soon, but it's not fully there yet, and you can still work with it, especially depending on your chart. And I think that this is these are two of the big benefic planets coming together. So this can create a pretty lucky time, especially during this sort of portal of intention setting at the start of this new moon. Now, before we dive in even deeper into the transits, I want to also make a quick announcement that if you'd like to get an outline of this video emailed directly to you of my forecast of the full and new moon, you can sign up for my newsletter. It's the Align newsletter. And you not only will get the rundown, but you'll get a link to this video, a link to the guided meditation that is coupled with these videos that I make custom to the lunation and the transits happening. And we just joined Substack, so be sure to sign up in the description box below. All right, so now in terms of top transits, now that we've explored the more dreamy energy of this new moon, let's dive into some of the key transits that will be influencing this lunation. First up, about 10 days before this new moon, I just want to note, on February 18th, we saw that the sun entered the sign of Pisces, marking the start of Pisces season. So we definitely have to extend a very happy birthday to all of our sun, moon, and rising Pisces friends. So this season really can encourage us as a collective to slow down, connect with our inner world, and tap into our creativity, how we transmute energy. Now, the sun in Pisces is really a time of reminding us to trust our intuition and lean into the wisdom of our emotions, the wisdom of our insights, pattern recognition. And this will be setting a tone for this lunation, really asking us, How can we align our dreams and allow ourselves to flow rather than to force? Next, a few days before this new moon on the 23rd, we'll see that Mars, the planet of action, drive, initiation, and passion, will be ending its retrograde, y'all. Yes. So Mars has been retrograde since December 6th of last year, okay? So over 2 months. And especially for my cardinal signs of Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, but really everyone in general. When Mars goes direct, it can feel like roads are steadily feeling like they're opening up, especially mentally and externally, really resulting in action plans looking a lot more clear when it comes to ideas and even resolutions, like New Year's resolutions that we might have made. So especially when it comes to Mars-ruled aspects of life that include things like taking action, initiating things, and making moves, you might notice more announcements coming out, more releases, more invitations, and a growing inner drive to start taking the first steps in alignment with any sort of ideas or realizations that you've had over the previous 2+ months since essentially December 6th when it went retrograde. Now there is a caveat here. It's not going to be all, oh, I finally feel like I took espresso shots and I can do all these things. It's not fully perfect in that way, and I say that because Mars retrograde has ended, but it's still in its post-shadow period, which basically means that it won't be until around the beginning of March when it is fully direct. And so what that means is essentially between now and the beginning of March, it'll likely be a slow buildup of momentum when it comes to our energy. And I'm so excited because in your custom readings, I will talk about what house Mars is going direct in. So what area of life you will likely feel less stagnation in, which is very exciting. But another caveat I want to mention is, like mentioned before, Venus is in its pre-shadow period, which means that it's going to be going retrograde pretty soon in a few weeks. And Mercury will also be going retrograde in March. So it's not all, roses and daisies, but Mars is such an influential planet and it rules over our energy, our drive, our passion, taking action. So yes, this will likely result in a lot of notable things happening. And like I mentioned before, like there's so much going on, especially in the US, a lot of stuff coming out in the news. Unfortunately, it seems like we might see an uptick in that, specifically because a lot of that happened, most of it happened all under Mars retrograde, y'all. So again, like if you'd imagine a traffic jam and the roads are finally opening up, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on. And maybe it's not in your personal world. You might just notice it's almost like the other shoe finally drops. The ball drops. Something that has been already kind of in the works is finally coming through, whether it's good or bad, that is up to you to interpret. Next, right before this new moon, we will see that Mercury in Pisces will be forming a trine aspect with Uranus in Taurus. Now, Mercury, the planet of communication and thought, will be blending pretty seamlessly in this trine with Uranus, the planet of sudden insights, in really creating a pretty harmonious and even it can feel electrifying energy for some of this. Now this transit can be perfect for creative breakthroughs or unexpected conversations that create these breakthroughs. And since Uranus is in Taurus, this will likely be sparking more conversations relative to finance, resources, and more tangible, practical matters having to do with like material things in our lives. And finally, Venus in Aries will be forming a sextile aspect with Jupiter in Gemini. Now, this is one of the most fortunate alignments that we are going to be seeing at the time of this new moon, and it'll be bringing in a wave of optimism, love, and abundance. And I know that sounds cheesy, but these are two of the most lucky, benefic, expansive, supportive planets having a very hospitable and mutually beneficial and amplifying transit with one another. So around the time of this new moon, whether you're starting maybe a new creative project or nurturing a relationship or even setting new financial goals or getting clear on organizing things like that, this transit will be supporting growth and joy. And it can be a really optimal time and an optimal moment for planting seeds that are rooted in love, in creativity, in expansiveness. And what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, there's something having to do with a relationship of yours and it's hit a snag or there's something going on there. With this type of transit around the time of a new moon, it can make it so this can be a very great time for setting intentions that are rooted in love for healing within the group or the community or the dynamic that you're in. and being open-minded to that being a possibility again, and imagining what that could look like, and leaning into like, okay, if I could create whatever I wanted, how would this play out? Like, what would be the steps? And getting clear on those things. Like, this is a type of transit where being unreasonable, in my opinion, I think it's really good. I think it's good to lean into that sometimes, to stay open to those possibilities, because as many of us know, like who are watching, there can be so many things that go wrong, but every once in a while something will happen, and you'll look at the person with you like, did you see that? That was kind of out of nowhere. This is the type of transit that can usher moments like that in, so just stay open to it. All right, y'all, now let's dive into these custom readings for each zodiac sign. So you can go ahead and go to the timestamps in the video and go on over to your sign, and I will see you there. Hello, hello, and welcome into my Pisces friends. So this new moon will be activating your first house of identity, of self-expression, self-image, the body, and new beginnings. So with the moon and sun both influencing your first house, this is indicating a very potent time for you for dreaming big, for setting bold intentions about how you want to show up in the world and reflecting on those things. And as you already know, a Pisces moon also brings in themes of reflecting on your self-image and where there is or is an overlap between your current self-image and the intentions that you want to set, your future self, and what that might look like. So this lunar cycle is likely going to be asking you to prioritize yourself. So that means your dreams, your desires, and your authentic expression. And now we also see that Mars will be ending its retrograde in Cancer in your 5th house of romance, creative expression, leadership, and children. So while we still are in Mars's post-shadow period, it will be fully direct at the start of March. So the end of this retrograde does indicate a pretty steady building of energy and momentum within this sector of your life. So you'll likely notice a bit more ease with kickstarting or taking action within your 5th house realms of creative projects, romantic pursuits, and enjoying more fun activities or hobbies solely for the sake of enjoyment, you know, not to monetize it or to show other people, but what is the effect that it has on you? Getting clear on that and enjoying it for what it is. Hello, hello to my Aries friends. So this new moon will be lighting up and activating your 12th house of spirituality, hidden matters, and healing. Now, it's a very powerful time for things like introspection and reconnecting with your inner world. And you might feel more in tune with your intuition and finding inspiration in things like solitude and leaning into what helps you emotionally regulate. Now, this lunation is also indicating experiences that might offer you a chance to let go of any sort of subconscious fears or limiting beliefs that may have been holding you back in the past. So really consider using this energy to connect with practices like meditation, journaling, or even creative outlets to process your emotions and find clarity. We'll also see that Mars will be ending its retrograde in your 4th house of family, the home, emotional foundations, and your inner circles. And while we are still in Mars's post-shadow period, and it will fully be direct at the start of March, the end of this retrograde does indicate a pretty steady building of energy and momentum within this sector of your life. So you'll likely notice a bit more ease with kickstarting and taking action within the realms of your more immediate home environment, your sense of emotional security, family matters, and aspects of your inner circle. And connecting this back to the new moon, some of you might also feel called to do deeper inner work, and it might be pertaining to breaking free from past emotional patterns or reassessing any sort of emotional foundations. So for this new lunar cycle, remember to trust what feels right and create space for emotional renewal and what that might look like to you. Hello, hello, and welcome into my Taurus friends. So this new moon will be activating your 11th house of friendships, community, collaboration, long-term goals, and thinking outside of the box. And this can be a really great time for setting intentions for how you'd like to grow your maybe networks and how you approach collaborative settings. You might also have experiences that leave you feeling inspired to connect or even reconnect with like-minded people, or reflect on groups that left you feeling a bit more uplifted or supported. And we also see that Mars will be ending its retrograde in your third house of communication, learning, and short-term travel. So while we are still in Mars's post-shadow period, and it will officially be going direct and ending at the start of March, the end of this retrograde does indicate a potential shift in how you communicate, maybe think, and process information. And so you may feel a bit of a renewed drive to express your ideas, reconnect with local environments, or even take action in learning something new. And connecting this back to the new moon, some of you might feel called to share your visions with others in a more proactive way, or explore new ideas that better align with your long-term dreams. So really consider letting your words and your connections lead the way when it comes to your personal evolution and aligning with your more authentic path and your more authentic self. Hello, hello, and welcome into my Gemini friends. So this new moon will be activating your 10th house of career, public image, reputation, and life direction. Now, if there's a professional goal that you've been dreaming of, now can be a really great time to plant the seeds for it. And the Pisces energy will be inviting you to infuse your career aspirations with creativity and intuition. So this lunar cycle will be a really great chance to reflect on how your work has aligned with your deeper purpose and values. You might also notice themes of imagination, dreams coming about, maybe even inspired dreams coming about that overlap with what you feel like you are giving to the world or contributing to the world in some way. And on one side of it, it could be inspired action in alignment with work type things, or side projects maybe. But ultimately, this is a really, really potent time to, if you are going to work on manifesting something or visualizing something, let that focus be on your either career path or what it is that you are contributing to your community. The 10th house is associated with career, but ultimately it isn't solely about career. The 10th house is, it kind of represents this life stage of, wow, I've learned so much in my life. How am I distilling that and giving that to others and bestowing that knowledge in my own unique way and sharing that with others? And how can I make sure that I am translating the wisdom of the people who came before me and offering that to people in practical, tangible ways? And so when we see that there's a Pisces new moon transiting your 10th house, it makes for an interesting time where you might notice a new start pertaining to that realm of your life, like your connection with your outer world, with your outer circle, your connection with your reputation. This also indicates potential illusions or even feeling disillusioned by what you were sourcing from what you were doing. Like, were you sourcing a pat on the back, like something that helped your ego? Were you sourcing inspiration, connection from those things? Like, are you kind of looking behind the veil? But those are things that are coming up for y'all right now. We also see that Mars will be ending its retrograde in your second house of finances, values, and self-worth. So while we are still in Mars's post-shadow period, this will be signaling an increasing momentum in areas related to things like money, material security, and how you value yourself and what you place value in. You may also feel called to take action towards financial goals or reassessing how your work connects you with your personal values or your self-image. And connecting this back to the new moon, this really indicates a time for dreaming big within your career, while also ensuring that your ambitions align with what you truly value. So really consider moving forward with confidence and trust in your self-worth, and maybe exploring that around this time. Hello, hello to my Cancer friends. So this new moon will be lighting up and activating your ninth house of higher learning, exploration, and belief systems, whether that's religious, philosophical, anything having to do with expansion of the mind. And that's why travel is involved. Like when you travel, you're sort of expanding your world, right? So this is indicating that around the time of this new moon, it can be a time to expand your horizons and explore new perspectives. And you might feel drawn to things like studying, travel, or engaging with philosophies or perspectives that inspire you. And we also see that Mars will be ending its retrograde, transiting your first house of the self, identity, and personal drive. So while we are still in Mars's post-shadow period, the end of this retrograde suggests a return of clarity and motivation for you and a building of momentum, especially when it comes to personal initiatives, physical energy, how you assert yourself, and your self-identity, your self-concept, and what it means to live in alignment with maybe an evolved form of that. Now, if you've maybe been feeling a bit sluggish or indecisive, then this shift can bring a fresh surge of energy moving forward, and that will steadily be building all the way until the beginning of March when Mars's post-shadow period ends. And connecting this back to the new moon, this also indicates a time of where you might feel a push for realigning with your personal beliefs, and so that you feel a little bit more authentic in the actions that you take. But ultimately, there's going to be themes of this boldness in how you navigate your environment. Hello to my Leo friends. The sun is setting. We are going to complete this video, okay? So the new moon will be transiting your 8th house of transformation, shared resources, the inner deeper psyche, emotional depth, and intimacy. So this is really indicating a pretty potent time for healing or releasing what no longer serves you and looking at different aspects of your shadows. You might feel called to explore deeper emotional or spiritual layers within yourself or others and reevaluate things like partnerships involving shared energy or even shared finances. And we also see that Mars will be ending its retrograde, transiting your 12th house of the subconscious, of patterns, rest, healing, even hidden enemies. So while we are still in Mars's post-shadow period, this will be suggesting an increase in momentum steadily when it comes to healing, the process of it, doing things like dream work, releasing self-sabotaging habits, exploring hidden aspects of your psyche, hidden fears, your shadow self. A lot of those things, especially if you've been making connections within that realm over the last few months, it'll feel like you're finally sort of connecting dots there, or you're finally taking aligned steps when it comes to healing those things. And connecting all of that back with this new moon in Pisces, this is indicating a time where there will be potential opportunity for fully embracing personal transformation. So really consider letting yourself release any old baggage and rebuilding trust in yourself when you step outside of your comfort zone. Hello to my Virgo friends and welcome in. So this new moon will be activating your 7th house of partnerships, relationships, romance, and collaboration. Now, and this is really indicating a perfect time for setting intentions on how you want to show up in your closest connections and setting intentions around attracting more harmonious and balanced relations and communities. Now, we also see that Mars will be ending its retrograde in your 11th house of friendships, social circles, and long-term visions, along with your sort of creativity and thinking outside of the box. So this will be signaling an increase in clarity in how you engage with your community, how you collaborate with others, and how you take action towards long-term aspirations. Now, Mars has ended its retrograde, but we will still be in its post-retrograde, post-shadow period until the beginning of March. That's when it will be fully direct, but you will notice momentum around these topics in your life and around taking action or feeling energized, or you might notice that you're getting more invitations for things, maybe asked out on dates, or you're noticing more momentum within these realms of your life around this time. It could manifest in really good ways as like, yeah, more dates, more invitations of things that you want to go to. It could also manifest in other ways of maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed with these invitations or finding out new information that maybe you don't love hearing, but it's almost like these things are dropping right now. Like things are kind of getting into motion, and inevitably that means that new information is going to come out about it. And so connecting this back with the new moon in Pisces, this could be a period where you might feel called to align your personal and even professional relationships with your evolving long-term goals and maybe even reassessing those things. So really be intentional in who you choose to build with, okay? Hello, and welcome into my Libra friends. So this new moon will be lighting up your 6th house of daily routines, wellness, and service. So this can be a great time for reassessing your habits and considering how you can align your day-to-day life with your emotional and creative needs. So this lunar cycle will be encouraging you to create balance between productivity and with rest, ensuring that your routines support both your well-being and your long-term, more sustainable goals. And we also see that Mars will be ending its retrograde in your 10th house of career, reputation, and long-term goals. So while we are still in Mars's post-shadow period, this will be signaling a renewed sense of drive and momentum in your professional life. So if you've been feeling stuck in maybe things like your career or unsure about next steps, then this shift can help you take more decisive action towards your ambition, and you might notice this momentum build into March. And connecting this back with the new moon, this can indicate an opportune time for integrating the things that make you feel balanced and leave you feel more grounded with your professional realms, with how you interact with your coworkers and in your sort of outer circles. Hello to my Scorpio friends, and welcome in. So this new moon in Pisces will be activating and transiting your 5th house of creativity, joy, and self-expression. So this can be a wonderful time for reflecting on and connecting back to what lights you up and inspires you creatively. Whether it's an artistic project or a romantic connection or simply carving out more time to just play. This lunation will be inviting you to embrace what feels joyful, freeing, and fun. And also we see that Mars will be ending its retrograde in your 9th house of higher learning, travel, expansion, philosophy, and religion. So while this still is Mars's post-shadow period, it'll be signaling an increase steadily in momentum relating to broadening your horizons, whether it's through education, travel, or spiritual exploration. And you also may feel ready to take action on a course of study or maybe a big trip or a new perspective that has been forming within you. And connecting this back to this new moon in Pisces, some of you might also feel pretty inspired to pursue more creative endeavors that push you a bit more outside of your comfort zone. So really remember to follow your passions with an open heart and a willingness to explore. Hello, and welcome into my Sagittarius friends. So this new moon will be lighting up your 4th house of the home, the family, emotional foundations, and your inner circle. And it can indicate a really beautiful time for setting intentions for creating a sense of peace and comfort in your personal life. And whether you're reflecting on your more physical space, your more immediate home, or it's more familial relationships or emotional needs, this lunation will be encouraging you to nurture those roots. Now we'll also see that Mars will be ending its retrograde in your 8th house of transformation, shared resources, and deeper rooted healing. So while we are still in Mars's post-retrograde period or post-shadow period, it'll be indicating a shift steadily in how you maybe handle financial matters or longer-term relationships. You might notice a bit more momentum when it comes to organizing things, whether it is having to do with organizing finances, kind of getting clear on where you stand in relationships, making moves, changing things, maybe setting boundaries or revisiting boundaries or things like that, where it feels like, okay, things are kind of moving forward here when it comes to your 8th house realms. And especially if you've been working through any sort of emotional blocks or even financial entanglements, this transit can bring a bit more clarity and forward momentum. And connecting this back to this Pisces new moon, this could be a really great moment where you are restructuring your emotional foundations, ensuring that they support your ability to thrive both personally, financially, and in relationships. So really consider letting go of any old fears and embracing any sort of change that comes your way, especially over the course of the next month and lunar cycle. Hello, and welcome into my Capricorn friends. So this new moon will be activating your 3rd house of communication, learning, information exchange, and local connections. And it can be an excellent time for setting intentions with how you want to express yourself, finally speak up for yourself, and connect. Oh, that was Coco. Sorry, y'all. I am fighting against the setting sun, so we got to get this done. I'm sorry, Coco. And whether this is through writing, conversations, or learning something new, this lunation is one that will be encouraging you to use your voice in a meaningful way. Now, we also see that Mars will be ending its retrograde in your 7th house of, and by the way, I'm leaning to pet my cat because she won't let me alone, your 7th house of partnerships and relationships. So while we still will be in Mars's post-shadow period, it'll be signaling an increase in clarity and momentum in your one-on-one connections, both personal and professional. So if there have been any sort of tension or stalled progress, especially in things like partnerships, this shift will allow for greater understanding and momentum moving forward. So have hope. And connecting this all back to the new moon in Pisces, this can present a pretty interesting opportunity for refining the way that you approach your relationships. So speak with intention, listen deeply, and align your words with your true desires wherever you can see that being a plausible thing to do. Hello, hello to my Aquarius friends. So this new moon in Pisces will be transiting your 2nd house of finances, values, self-worth, and love. And it can be a perfect time for reflecting on what truly matters to you and how you can align your resources with your priorities. And by the way, sorry if you notice that I'm leaning back and forth. My cat Coco is harassing me. My cat is harassing me right now, so I'm just kind of leaning and giving her pets. Yeah, sorry. And you may also feel called to revisit financial goals or explore how your material life reflects your inner values. Now, we also see that Mars will be ending its retrograde in Cancer in your 6th house of daily routines, your health, and productivity. Now, while we are still in Mars's post-shadow period, this will be signaling an increased drive to take action in areas that relate to your wellness, your work efficiency, and your daily habits. And if you felt any stagnation or feeling stuck, especially when it comes to your health with your routine and feeling grounded, this Mars going direct will definitely be helping you feel a little bit more momentum when it comes to feeling a bit more organized. And connecting this back to this Pisces new moon, now this can be a great opportunity for aligning your financial and material goals with your lifestyle in ways that support your well-being, notably. Now, really consider what needs or might need to shift in terms of your habits to create a more sustainable and fulfilling future for yourself. All right, y'all, we have made it to the custom journaling section of this new moon video. So what I will do is I will read out the journal prompts, and I invite you to pull out your R-Line astrology planner if you have it and flip on over to the dedicated Pisces new moon section to journal all of this out. And yeah, and then we'll come back. What was the last dream you remember having, or the most notable one that you've had in recent years or months? You see this little girl? She will not leave me alone. What would it look like for you to transmute your emotions or energy through a creative outlet? Do you feel like you have ever manifested something intentionally into your life? If so, what first comes to mind? What intention, if any, would you like to set at the time of this new moon and new lunar cycle? All right, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and answer one or two of these questions just to spark some conversation. I just wanted to talk about dreams, dreaming. Oh my goodness. I love the topic of dreams, lucid dreaming, astral projection, just all of those things, all of those realms, prophetic dreams, déjà rêvé, which is, it's a form of déjà vu, but it's when you feel like you dreamt of something that you are experiencing, things like that. I love those topics. I love scouring Reddit and going to the astral projection and lucid dreaming subreddits. Yeah, dreaming is so fascinating. It's so broad, and there's so many cultural interpretations of it that are much more beyond just a dream interpretation of maybe what your subconscious is trying to communicate. Look at this little girl. You see her? Oh my goodness. She just wants some pets. But anyway, I had a really interesting dream the other night, and I thought it was really cool. And I just want to share it with you for no particular reason, but also just to remind y'all, you have to dream journal, man, because sometimes you have a dream and it doesn't mean anything to you right now. But I actually just recently saw a video that people who are gifted with prophetic dreaming, in my opinion, I think most of us have it. It's just about remembering your dream and studying it and learning more about it. long enough to understand the meaning of it. Something notable that I learned about dreaming is that sometimes you have a dream that's not even meant for you. It's meant for somebody else in your life, and you just receive that dream, that download, that insight, so that when you interact with them, you can give them a message. I don't know. I find that to be very interesting. But anyway, I had a dream where there was like a kind of like a scary person. It was like a scary being almost in the dream. And it was like shape-shifting, like its face was changing, and it was making creepy noises, and there were creepy noises all around me, and it felt like a nightmare, right? And this was very unique for me. But for whatever reason, I kind of moved, and it was like, almost like I saw that being from a different angle, and I realized that it was just creating illusions. It wasn't actually a big scary thing. It was just creating big scary images. It's almost like if you're looking at somebody head on, and then you look from the side, and you realize that they have a mask on. It was kind of like that. And I realized that it was simulating scary noises, and it was creating these images of scary things. And y'all, you know what I did in the dream? I was like partially lucid. When I realized that, I was like, wait, I'm in a dream and I have power in my dream, okay? And because I was lucid and I was fully lucid and I realized, yo, I can do whatever I want in my dream, I literally mimicked the mimic, okay? So I literally started to act like that being was acting. I started to make scary noises and to just manifest like scary images that scared that being. And so I was scaring it, and I was like scaring it away, and I was like, yeah, and what? And then I woke up, y'all. I woke up, and it was the most random dream, because usually I'll get lucid and then I'll do stuff, but usually when it comes to being like, yo, I'm gonna defend myself, I get too excited and then I wake up. But I didn't wake up, y'all, and I got them back, okay? And it was so empowering. But it was just really interesting. And all that to say, I would love if any of y'all wanted to comment, not only, you know, notable dreams, most recent dreams you had, but if you've ever had any prophetic dreams, okay? Like, I love those stories. Anyway, if you made it to the end, I would love if you commented 3 dream bubble emojis. You know what's so interesting? Leading up to this new moon, I picked back up my book, The Artist's Way. And it's this book that's there to just help you with unlocking your creativity and kind of like getting into a creative flow. So that's another recommendation if you're someone who's like, she keeps on saying to get creative, but like, I don't even know where to start. Just learning, you don't even have to get the book, like maybe listen to a podcast that's about the book, The Artist's Way, or watch a YouTube video or TikTok of people reviewing the book and their experience with it. It can spark a lot of ideas of some of the insights that are in the book. But anyway, all of that to say, the sun is literally setting where I am, and I'm going to leave you with my favorite quote, okay? And that is, be gentle with yourself, because life is about the journey, not the destination. All right, I'll see you on the next one.